All right, so you should be the host. So now you should be able to see the waiting room. It looked like Carlton had just jumped in it when I made you the host.
Yes. Excellent.
All right, I will see you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hi, Carlton. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Looks like you made it home.
Yep. You saw me in my on the train in my car.
I didn't see you in the car. My computer, when I'm in the other room, most of the time I can only barely have the shared screen element that I can see. Otherwise, it flashes a lot. So I'm going to see. I'm closer to my router here now.
Yeah, I thought I was going to lose. Well, I did drop out a few times, but
That's all right. At least we stood our ground.
yeah, no, and I'm happy with the result of that.
I showed it to Marilee, and
Yep.
as soon as she saw the two options, she said option 2.
Yeah,
it makes more sense.
it does. And with option 1, like if you think of where the entrance to the elevator was going to be, where the entrance to the stairs, and where that office was, it'd just be too much going on there.
Yeah, I agree. And the fact that I'm be careful, but yeah, I think the fact that they want to redo the bathrooms downstairs, I think making that water efficient and all that kind of stuff is good.
Exactly. I'm gonna start doing my shared duties and start admitting people.
So how you doing? You staying safe?
I'm doing good. Yeah, no, it's like I was driving home on the train. I think there was maybe I should have lifted my phone because there's maybe 3 people on the train with me. So
I think people are getting nervous again about commuting.
yeah, I think hopefully it's going to be going down again. So, and I mean, like the level of people commuting is going to go down.
Oh, yeah, I think it's gonna drop off.
Yeah, because we're going to be dealing with this for a while.
Yeah, but at least they have potential viruses. Let me see, vaccines coming on board.
Exactly.
But, and the fact that they stem from the same kind of RNA type thing means that's pretty significant to me, that you've got 2 slightly different ways of getting the same thing into these things. I think that's going to be a Nobel Prize at some point.
Exactly.
So you weren't on the meeting last night, were you?
Unfortunately not. I unfortunately missed it. But no, thank you for all the notes and everything that you've done for that.
Yeah, I'd already, that memo I sent today, I had written a week ago, and I've been editing it, but they just reinforced a lot of stuff. Somebody tried to join us.
Yep. We have a few. We're still waiting on more historical commission members than just me.
Oh, Codfish isn't there?
Not yet.
He tried to speak last night, and for some reason, even though he was unmuted, his mic wasn't picking him up or something, and I think he's pretty frustrated. And David tried to wave his hand right at the end to get something in, and they were on a time. They'd cut off all the public comments, so.
Hi there, this is Chris Hool. I just wanted to introduce myself. I saw on the agenda that you were going to talk about the High Street dam and bridge, so I thought I would attend in case you had any questions. I know you haven't started yet, but just wanted to throw that out there.
Welcome, Chris.
Thank you.
I didn't see you coming in here, so I'm glad you spoke up, because I have no evidence that you were on the talk here. Somebody else just chatted.
Okay. Janet was just asking what meeting was held last night. Carlton, you were there. Do you want to just?
Well, Chris, are you on your phone? Because I just don't see any evidence of your in view here. Janet, the meeting last night was a public meeting that Chris Hull shepherded regarding the High Street Dam and Bridgewater replacement project. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep my video off until you kind of get to this item in the agenda. But yes, Carlton.
So I don't know where Janet is, but Janet, did you hear what and understand what I said? I missed that. Okay. The state is in the process of working up plans regarding the removal of the High Street Dam. And also because of that removal, the bridge has to be replaced, and they're very historic. And so they had a briefing to the public last night from 5:30 to 7 something on that order, and told us what the status of the project was. Is that going to be made available publicly? I think you guys recorded it, right?
That I don't know. It did say it was recording, but I don't know how the recording would be available or not. But we did submit a PDF of the presentation to Jennifer Burke at the town. So I assume she'll post it to the website.
Did she host it last night? Because if she hosted it, then she probably turned on the recording. The town records all these kinds of meetings for public archival and public information.
I believe that she was hosting it, so it did say it was recording. How that information gets posted, that I'm not sure. So that would be a question for her.
Absolutely.
All right, welcome, James. We're still just waiting on more historical commission members to join.
There, I went to the non-video people and I see everybody now. It's my inability to handle Zoom.
I don't know if this is gonna be my fourth.
Hey, Carlton. Hey, Steve. Sorry, I was talking on mute, but I did say hello. It wasn't just lurking in the background.
Yeah, I don't know if Bob's at home or if he's down on the Cape, but
And I'm assuming David's going to be showing up.
I heard that in the previous meeting, the previous meeting you and I were at, he said something about a meeting at 5, but I don't know if maybe he's not off of that yet. Busy man.
Hey, Bob, how you doing? I think you're on mute.
Lower left.
All right, we'll just wait a few more minutes, see if Dave or Sherry join.
That's right. You don't have quorum unless you get one more of them, right?
Exactly.
Hey, Bob, if you can hear us, wave your hand. Okay, you're on mute, bud.
So you just have to unmute your, in the lower left hand, just unmute your computer.
That little microphone.
Well, I think you just did it.
Yes.
10-4. You hear me?
Roger.
Loud and clear.
Hey, Carlton, I don't know why I couldn't do that last night.
I didn't see it last night showing that you weren't unmuted. It looked like you were unmuted, but just remember lower left.
I tried that last night and it didn't work. Had to shut the thing down and bring it back up again.
No, well, Chris Hull's on the, Chris, is it Hull or Hull?
It is Hool, thank you.
Cool. All right, I'll get. My English is not that great.
I like that. I get a lot of mispronunciations, but that second one, I hadn't heard that one before. That was good.
So Bob, I was saying Chris is on the phone, so you can ask him your question tonight.
I forgot the question.
Come on, don't show that.
Chris, I'm a historic deed research, and I did David Perkins' dam back in 1690. Did all the deeds. Then I gave it to Carlton to process.
Yeah, I found some other historic maps that, because I'm digging in on some bridge stuff, and I found some maps that pointed out.
Okay. Well, before we get to that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start the meeting now that we have quorum. Hi, David. How you doing?
Sorry for the delay. I did that last meeting from the parking lot at my doctor's office, Stoughton, and from Bridgewater, Stoughton to here. What a mess traffic wise.
I was on the train while in that last meeting too, so you weren't alone.
Yeah.
All right, it's 6:11. I'm going to call the meeting to order. All right, so just going to go through the agenda real quick. We were not able to have a meeting last month. There was a Zoom scheduling issue, so I apologize for that. Let's go announcements from the chair. I just want to start off saying that I guess this is my first official starting of a meeting as chair of the Historical Commission, following in the great footsteps of David Moore. So
And Ken Moore.
and Ken Moore. So it's weird not being a Moore and being a historical chair in this town.
You're doing a great job, Steve.
But no, I look forward to just kind of like getting more of the history out in this town, helping out, make people aware where they live, and just, making sure that our vision for the town and our input is heard from the town manager and the town council. So on the chair, and look forward to making some progress in this town, letting people know where we live in the history.
Good luck.
And just go, I guess we'll start off with the comments, citizens open forum. So if anyone has any citizens have any comments or things they want to share. Okay. Seeing none, we have no presentations today. No general staff reports, so we'll get right into the discussions. First item on the discussions is the memorial building update, which about an hour or so ago, we had our most recent ad hoc committee update. Myself, David Moore, Carlton, we were all in that meeting. That was discussing the configuration of where the lift within the memorial building would be placed. We were given two options, and I think that there was consensus of choosing an option and to keep moving the project forward. I think it was very successful. And once we get, I wasn't able to get any screenshots of like the layouts, but I will share those with the historical commission in the future, just to make sure that everyone knows what's going on. But I don't know if anyone on the commission has any comments about the progress or input.
My only comment would be my main goal was just to make sure there was communication between the floors, that there was going to be a stairway between the floors and a lift. And, you know, I don't agree with many of the other items there, but I feel as though I accomplished my goal, and I'll let other people fight those battles.
Absolutely. No, I definitely appreciate you. I think you had very good input on that project, and we'll hopefully keep it going forward. Carlton, did you have anything that you wanted to add to your view?
Yeah, no, it's been I don't know if there's a couple of people from the public. We've been meeting with the town manager and assistant town manager, and today we met with the architect because, as David pointed out, the plan was to, we need to make the building accessible, and there's a plan in place for the front end to be made accessible, a very nice design out front. But the way they were going to have accessibility into the basement was around the back in a back door entrance. And none of us really cottoned to that, and there were other issues on the inside. But the bottom line is that David pushed real hard to get a lift inside the building. We looked at one outside the building too, so people could, under HDA accessibility, we need to be able to, person with disabilities needs to be able to access the building just like anybody else in the public. And so the front end design was done, but then they were going to put inside that historic building, the plan was to put 2 bathrooms on the main floor and disrupt a lot of well, they worked hard to not disrupt. It was going to be very disruptive of that historic building, established in 1862. So long story short, an ad hoc committee was formed to work hard on that issue, and they finally heard us and came up with an interior lift that could access the basement area. So somebody that comes in the front of the building would be able to actually get to the basement where there will be archives. And I understand there may be a large print scanner system be put in there, and then people can go down and do research in that area if they need to. So we were successful to get the lift in I think the best place in the building, and it's going to move forward now. I'm involved with it because I'm part of this community preservation committee.
Of course you are.
That's Pat.
Welcome. Yeah, no, I think that what the option that we ended up on, I think that it not only works good for if for them to use it as a office space, what they're requesting to use it as right now, but in the future, if it ever was to be used for a different purpose, I think I was mentioning that it keeps the symmetry of the space. It makes it a more functional space. So once again, I wish I had some images to share with everyone, but I think it's.
I did get street numps of it, but I don't want to occupy the whole meeting with that.
Right. No, I think that it was. It'll be good to eventually see that life back in that building. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the High Street Dam, progress on the study on the High Street Dam. There was a meeting last night. I was unfortunately not able to attend it, but we do have Chris on the line, and I think Carlton and David, I think you were, and Bob, you were all at the meeting. So I'd appreciate if either David or Bob, if you want to discuss the progress that's going on.
Well, I just wanted to comment that pretty impressive presentation on the whole project. Carlton has done a tremendous amount of research and done a lot of digging and so forth, brought up a lot of really good points. And I sent some issues around to a couple of you guys, but I'm not going to bring them up now. We can address those later. But I guess I just turn it over to Carlton to keep it going.
All right, I've already spoken too many times on this thing. It was a good presentation. There are a number of historic elements that need to be further researched that I've sent to Chris's office, most of my comments, and I'll leave it at that. There are some mitigation discussions, and I need to understand better what the Historic Commission's role and what the future documentations or requirements are going to be. Maybe Chris can answer that. But Bob, I know, tried to talk last night and couldn't find his mute
Microphone.
Anyway, go.
Chris?
Hi, thank you.
Hi, Chris. It's Bob. My name is Bob Wood. Codfish, the old Codfish is my CB handle from years ago. And the one question I have is that roadway that was coming in off High Street, why not use the existing bridge over to the park by the old stone building? We got parking there and it won't interfere with traffic on High Street. So I'm sort of against that entrance and roadway in there that might destroy the overall configuration of the park.
Yeah, good comment. Definitely something that we thought a lot about prior to the presentation and as part of the design. So the issue is that the bridge at the southern end of the park limits is in pretty rough shape. I'm sure if you've seen it, you might agree. And it's really not up to the capabilities to support the machinery that will be coming in and out of that park for the project. So it's really not, unfortunately, an option for the machinery that we have to bring onto the site. That being said, I think your bigger point is to limit the amount of traffic that's going through the park, and that's definitely something we're sensitive to, and we've tried to incorporate into the project. In terms of the traffic implications on High Street. We're actually going to be shutting down the portion of the road pretty much from the park all the way to the other side of Wall Street in order to do the bridge reconstruction. So in terms of traffic, I don't think that's going to be an issue because nobody will be really driving that far down the road, with the exception, we'll try to keep the Lincoln Athletic Association open and all that, and APC, but it won't have the traffic that you see on a daily basis going through there. And then in terms of bringing equipment into the park, we have instituted sort of a no disturbance requirement for that as part of the designs. We'll be putting down some sort of like timber mats or other material like that, where the contractor won't be allowed to disturb the earth in the park. They'll have to just build up the road from the ground level up. Essentially put something down on the ground so they're not disturbing the earth. And then when they're all done, they'll remove that material, whether it's a timber mat or stone access road or what have you. So we'll probably give the contractor a few options for that for cost implications. But the gist of it is we won't be impacting the anything below ground surface. And then the third point I just want to make to that is we actually expect the majority of the equipment that's going to enter the river and truck traffic to actually occur at the parking lot that's on the east side of the bridge and the dam, kind of near where the entrance to the DPW yard is. So that's really going to get the bulk of the work done, but it's not 100% of it. We know we're going to have to get a machine out on the west side of the river through the park. So that's why we included it there. So hopefully that allays most of your concerns, but you know, and there might be some small machinery that we can bring in to the bridge to the south, but you know, we really don't want to jeopardize that bridge any worse than it already is. I'm sure you might all agree.
So that'll still be useful after your operation of taking out a High Street Bridge for the public to get in, park, and then go see the park.
I'm not sure I fully understand your question, but yeah, we'll be sort of updating. We're not really expanding the parking, but we'll be restriping the parking lot to the east of the river, east of the bridge, and they'll right. So they'll be parking there.
Chris, last night there was, you mentioned it, and I know Collins mentioned it, possible preservation of some of the large stone slabs from the earliest levels of the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great idea. Does it sound like it might be practical to save some of those and locate them in the park?
Yeah, I'm all for that. You know, I forget who brought it up, if it was you, Mr. Moore, or if it was Carlton on a previous note, but nonetheless, that we heard that feedback to keep some of those materials. There are some really there are some large oh, nice. That took me by surprise, but yeah. I thought I was getting booted out here. There are some large granite slabs that make up the bridge, so I think it's great to keep those materials. If there's a use for them in the park that all of you think would be great to reuse those, I think that's a fantastic idea. Perhaps this is just a thought I had actually since last night and not one I really communicated with anybody yet. But if we find maybe some of the smaller granite slabs that might either make up the bridge or possibly the dam, we might be able to reuse some of those for maybe like a sort of informal kayak launch or a set of stairs down off of the parking lot just to the east of the bridge, to the east of the river. It's something I need to work out with the design engineer, but I think that could be a good use as well. Reusing some of those materials. But yeah, I'm happy to put them in the park. As I said last night, you know, and I said actually I think at our meeting back in February, we're happy to salvage any of the mechanical gears that are part of the dam that still exist. We know they're not all there, but the ones that do exist still, we can keep those. I don't know how realistic it is to ask a contractor to rebuild those and make them functional because they're not functional now and we don't have more parts. That being said, you know, we can reserve them if that's something the Historic Commission wants to, you know, talk further about. I'm happy to have that conversation.
Steve?
Yes.
Chris, I was told, and I think it might have been directly, but I believe Mr. Flaherty has pulled a lot of the mechanical parts, and I heard that it was he kept them in one of his storage places. So
yeah, I heard that comment, Carlton, after I attended the meeting, I think in February, and I actually met with the owner and asked him that same question, and he said they don't have anything in their storage yard or in their storage shed. So unfortunately, maybe they did have them at one time, but those don't exist anymore. You know, I let him know, and I said, if you find anything, you know, please save them and let us know. But it's been what,
I have another
9 months and he hasn't found anything.
Thanks. I have another question. Is it possible at all to save the large stone foundations of the current bridge and rebuild the old industrial railroad that went off on the southern part of it, and then there's a walkway that went over that also? Is there any way that we can preserve those stones properly keep the flows you want, and then make that a new entrance to the park?
I mean, the first part of the question is, can we reserve the stones? Yes. We're to expect that we're going to be able to rebuild a bridge for this purpose is not a realistic expectation. We have very limited funds, and any funds that we are able to acquire for the project are specifically designated for ecological restoration and unfortunately not for rebuilding a whole historic structure. I understand your comment, but unfortunately it's going to be cost prohibitive and something that I just don't think is in the scope of what we're trying to do here.
Well, I'm asking because I don't think you need to rebuild. I think you can just use the stones and shore them up a little bit. And historically, that would be a much, somebody brought the question up about access to the park and the trail and all that stuff last night. And I just thought of that, just maybe that's another way to preserve history and yet not impinge on the project's goals.
Well, it's a 55-foot span, new bridge, so it would have to be about 55 feet.
No, I'm talking about the current dam. That dam has foundations on the left and right side of the river and in the center, large stone blocks. And what I'm saying is, do we have to remove those stone features to make the project work, or can we preserve those stone features of the dam and put the old walkway and the old railroad back as part of the historic piece?
No, the dam, nearly 100% of the dam structure is being removed, with the exception of the what's supporting the walls on either side. That center pier that you see, that's going away. It has to go away not only from a dam safety and flooding standpoint, but also from a fish passage standpoint. That would be restricting flows and not meeting the project. So I hear your comment, Mr. Hunt, but unfortunately, that is just not something that's in the cards for this project.
You said give you ideas, and I just gave you.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to keep the slabs and any other materials that you think present some historic value and talk further about that. But in terms of something to that scale, I don't think that's going to be feasible. No, I just want to set clear expectations. I'm not trying to be blunt, right? I'm just trying to set real expectations.
I can scare anyone, but I'm just sharing my screen again.
Yeah. Oh, great! These are excellent photos.
Yeah, this is a on the Bridgewater Historical Commission Facebook page. I've compiled a whole history of old photos of the site, photos and maps, so that these are accessible. I think.
Well, that was an interesting one there at the end with the dam.
Yeah, just about this one right here.
Urban?
No, it was that one there. Is that yeah, that's the same dam. Oh, I guess that's newer. It looked older from the.
That's a 2000. That's 1904 dam. It's not as rotten.
I'm happy to take more questions. I do want to just touch on something that I forget who said it earlier on when you first introduced the topic here tonight. I want to recap a bit as to the correspondence that was sent to the Historic Commission, and then address possibly the role that you all could serve moving forward. So those who attended last night heard from Jim Turek from the NOAA Restoration Center. The NOAA Restoration Center is a federal agency. They are acting as the lead federal agency for this project. When you're seeking federal permits, or you have a federal agency action, in this case, the NOAA Restoration Center provided funding to the project, so that's a federal action. But we also need to seek federal permits to do this project, so there's another federal action there. So you'll have a lead federal agency. Sometimes that's if you don't have funding, sometimes that will be the United States Army Corps through that permitting process. But in this case, because we received funding and they're acting as a partner, our lead federal agency is the NOAA Restoration Center. as part of their legal requirements as a federal agency is they need to ensure that the projects that they're undertaking are in compliance with Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act. And as one of the key aspects of that is to initiate a consultation process with potential interested parties. In this case, and in Massachusetts, largely, those entities are the Mass Historic Commission, the Massachusetts Bureau of Underwater Archaeological Resources. Those are the two state agencies that you work in this realm. I'm sure you're familiar. There's the Native American tribes that, depending on where you're working, different ones have different interests. But in this case, the Mashpee Aquina and the Mashpee Wampanoag, or excuse me, the Mashpee Wampanoag and the Wampanoag tribe of Gayhead, also known as Aquina. Sorry, I stumbled there. So those are the two tribes that we know have some interests in this region. So they have, as well as the Bridgewater Historic Commission. You certainly have commented on our PNF filing with MHC about a year ago. I attended a similar hearing, one of your hearings, I think in mid-February of this year. And we wanted to, or the NOAA Restoration Center wanted to invite you as a potential consulting party as this historical process continues. The next sort of thing we're looking at down the road here is a potential development of a memorandum of agreement. That's usually between interested parties that respond to that request to be a consulting party. It could be a tribe, like I said, it could be MHC or others. It could be a local commission like yourself. But in order to do that, you would need to respond to his letter and request to be a consulting party. Or if not, if you don't need to be a consulting party, just simply stating your interests, your concerns, or any questions you have, and that would continue that dialogue. You don't have to be a consulting party just to continue that dialogue. But nonetheless, we know you are interested in this project and happy to have your continued input as we move forward. So I guess what I would like to know is, have you received that correspondence that went out in October? And secondly, do you have any thoughts or questions about it or anything that I just said?
I have not received it.
And I just have to double check to see if we have received it or not. If we haven't received it, I believe that definitely as a commission that we do want to be a contributing consulting party.
So it definitely went over email as well as hard copy to the town offices. We kind of covered our bases on that. Okay. But
is there a deadline to get it back? I guess have we missed it, or?
It's a 30-day window. I'll send that correspondence again after we get off the call. It doesn't mean you can't respond after 30 days. But obviously we want to know that information sooner than later.
Absolutely.
So the sooner you can respond, that would be helpful.
Okay. Yeah, if you can send that again, that would be great, because I know that just at the time when you probably sent it, it was either the transition between David and myself being chair, or just access to the academy building in general, just being able to get the mail. So if you can send that, that would be great.
Yes, I was forwarded to Mr. Moore because that was the only email that I had at the time. So that was at the end of October. But yes, I have your email now, Mr. Rogan. So I'll send that to you.
Great, thank you.
I received that, some of that also. Does that mean I can become a consulting party?
Is that question to me?
Yes, sir.
Typically, that's definitely a question for the lead federal agency, not me. I'm not sure that I'm the most qualified to answer that question, but typically it's usually an entity as opposed to an individual person.
Okay.
I
Possibly,
don't,
maybe, Carlton, you could do it as representative for the Community Preservation Committee.
Excellent point.
This definitely ties into, is something that the CPC could and should definitely be involved in.
We can communicate directly with the NOAA lead, right? That's to you, Chris.
yeah, I mean, the answer to your question is yes, but what specifically from the Community Preservation Act aspect are you interested in, or how you think that ties in?
Community, the Community Preservation Committee has access to funds for historic preservation, for open space and recreation, and housing. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, great. Yes, I'll mention this to Jim Turek, that there's some interest there, and I'll see how he wants to handle it. If he wants to send you a letter directly, or alternatively, I think you could respond to his letter formally, and request that.
Just so you, one more piece of information. I'm vice chair of that committee.
Okay.
And Carlton, I'm sorry, David just sent me the letter, so I just did receive it via email.
Yeah.
Okay.
My apologies, gentlemen.
I'm glad that you found it. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's also, what we did send hard copy of is the supporting reports and things like that. It's probably not really new information for you, but it does show the what we presented last night, the area of potential effect, which is which MHC has concurred on, I believe. I'll have to double check that, but I believe, yes, they concurred on the area of potential effect, which is really what forms the basis for the historical assessments that, move forward from there. But there's a map and all that was included in the hard copy that we sent. I don't recall if that was on the email or not.
It was.
I think I do have that available.
Okay. Great. Yeah, so Carlton, if you want to, you have that letter. So if you have Jim Turek's contact information. So as a representative of the Community Preservation Committee, you're welcome to respond to that. And I'll mention to Jim offline anyways, and see how he wants to handle it. But just so you don't miss any sort of windows there.
I need to talk to the chairman first, but I will pursue that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
a couple questions to Chris. The wall of the house to the southwest of the park there, I think is made with cinder blocks, which could come, and David Moore can double check me on this, may be in a problem of collapsing at some point. And it might need, I don't know whether it would be involved with that, but the wall seems to be holding at the present time. But whether it would fill in that creek, the canal on the left side or the west side of the park. Just sometime that you're there, just might take a look at it, may or may not be a factor. The other problem is, since the stream is going down in West Bridgewater, I had a conversation maybe about 10 years ago concerning 22 acres that was on the northeast side of the town river, fenced in by the town border and by the railroad, that they wanted to put a development of 22 houses times 2 equals 44 vehicles they might want a bridge across the upper part of the river into, was it Ash Road? It runs along the river at that point, just for your information.
Okay, thank you for that information. I'm not sure I totally followed you on the first point, but I will answer the second part of that first point. Is we're not proposing to do anything in that western canal, western mill race, with the exception of some work upstream of High Street Bridge or north of High Street Bridge. There'll be some dredging of sediments that have deposited there over time. There'll be some temporary water control and access, those sort of things, typical in any sort of construction project. And then I think long-term will probably be either, I don't know if we'll fully be removing them, but I'll just say adjusting, because I don't know the exact height, but adjusting the height of the weir boards right at the sort of concrete culvert that goes under High Street, just to make sure we dial in the right amount of flow capacity that we have to for meeting various bridge standards and flooding standards and things like that.
That channel will go totally dry once you drop the elevation 5 or 6 feet, because when you drained it down in 2017, it had a trickle of water going through it, and the dam still had water behind it. So that will go high and dry.
Yeah, and it is dry. I actually just went out there. The other day. It's dry most of the year. The way that the purpose of those weir boards at next to the APC property just north of High Street is to maintain a proper amount of flow through the fishway. Those boards are required to make sure there's enough water going into the fishway versus going over the main spillway of the dam, primary dam structure.
Once all that's removed, if you remove those weir boards, then you actually have a real potential for additional flow. If you leave the weir boards, then you're going to push all the water down the main channel.
Yes, exactly. So, yep, that's exactly what I was alluding to. So, during spring flows right now, you certainly see, flow through that mill race. You do see some flow from stormwater runoff from High Street because there's drainage that enters into the culvert that goes under High Street. You have a tributary, at least one tributary, possibly two, that come in within the Ironworks Park. So that will all continue to flow there. But you're right. Those large storm events would still flow under the culvert through as they normally do. But if you do keep those boards in at the full height, that would certainly prevent those larger storms, many of the larger storms, from flowing through that culvert. So that's why I was saying we might either remove all of them or at least lower them to some height. We need to balance flood flows with making sure we're not creating a false attraction flows as part of the spring river herring migration season. So that's why I'm sort of dancing around the issue. Is I don't actually know the answer, and it's something.
The answer is the old power station that's there is a vertical drop of about 7 or 8 feet, and the fish would never be able to come up that channel.
That is 100% accurate, but when we direct water over there and there's water flowing through there, that still attracts the fish, and then they get stranded and they can't make it up. So that's what we're trying to balance. Is we don't want to put too much flow there in the spring, but we also don't want to totally close it off. So there's that balance.
One thing that I did in the correspondence that David sent around that he mentioned that he was going to bring it up later. I think there was a few in your in the meeting announcement for the meeting last night. I think you mentioned it as like a Jenkins Dam. I think the name of your of the public hearing, and I think that was an incorrect naming of it. I think the Jenkins Dam was on Plymouth Street. So that's just something that we might want to.
Yeah, I think I've heard a similar comment in the past. At the end of the day, the regulatory agency, the agency that regulates dams in Massachusetts is the Massachusetts Office of Dam Safety.
Mhm.
They maintain a database of all the known dams, frankly, in the state. Anything ranging from non-jurisdictional to jurisdictional. And there's various sizes that are jurisdictional, but nonetheless, they maintain a database, and that's how they communicate with dam owners to say, hey, you gotta keep up with your dam and, you know, do inspections every so often and make sure that, you know, you're not jeopardizing safety of folks downstream.
That's how
And the dam, yeah. And so the dam name, for the High Street Dam, the one, you know, the primary structure in Stanley Iron Works, the one on the main eastern channel, their database and numbering system has it such that it's the Jenkins Pond Dam. That's what they classify it as. That's, as far as they're concerned, that's the name of it. I understand there's some historical inconsistencies there. Frankly, it's not an uncommon issue. There's a lot of dams in the state that have multiple names, and you know, different generations call them different things. And so for the, you know, purposes of our presentations and all that, we've been trying to refer to it as High Street Dam. You know, Office of Dam Safety calls it, you know, by definition, or by their database, is the Jenkins Pond Dam. You showed a photo just a little while ago, but the other dam in the park on the mill race, or the western channel, that one's referred to as the Jenkins Pond Channel Dam, to further complicate things. I hear your point. You know, I wish we had a way to sort of clear that up, but you know, for the regulatory agency that is really driving it, is, you know, we have to call it that. We have to call it.
No, that clarifies it.
Yeah.
There's history, and then there's regulations.
Yeah. So. I'd love to just call it what it was, you know, back in the 1700s or 1800s or whatever it was called. So.
Yeah, I mean, I know going forward, I'll go up to the sign that's there. And this is just something that we're going to have to look at going forward. See this sign right here where it says Stanley Iron Works Park? We're going to make sure we should really make sure that it ends up being Bridgewater Iron Works Park, not because the Stanley Works was only there for 30 years out of the 300.
Oh, interesting.
So I think this is something like going forward, and maybe that could be some of our input, is let's just, once the whole process is done, make sure that the park has the right name.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, so I mean, if that's something that your commission wants to work with us on, that's fine. If the Community Preservation Committee wants to work with us on, you know, developing some new signage, that's on the table. You heard from Suzanne Chareau, those who attended the meeting yesterday, from the Public Archaeological Laboratory, and you know, she explained what's a, you know, typical what we'll call mitigation measures for projects like these. Again, this isn't an uncommon thing that we're doing here. It's happened many times in the state. There's been over 60 dam removals in Massachusetts. I don't even know the number in New England, but definitely many more. But they're typically in settings like this, you know, historic districts, historic parks, historic mill buildings, and you know, one potential mitigation measure, or a common first mitigation measure, is historical photographs and documentation, and they've already done that, frankly. That's the report that we sent over to you. We PAL developed a MHC form F, I think, for the bridge by their request, and it's all archival level photographs and all that. So that's done. We have that. The next, you know, in some projects might require a little bit more, and developing interpretive signage or interpretive, you know, basic interpretive materials like that. She threw out an example of a plaque. We've done a bronze plaque just down the road at the East Bridgewater Carver Cotton Gin Dam. So that's something we've done a number of times. So incorporating those into the signage that you already have there is certainly on the table, and something we can work with you on. And funding obviously sometimes comes up as an issue. Something small like signage is something we can often build into the cost of a project. But if the community wants something more than what is already typical, then we obviously welcome other sources of funding to do that. And we heard some comments yesterday that made it sound it was just like a open piggy bank of money for projects like these. And the money that it is very hard to fundraise for these projects. My state agency has a limited budget that we spread across projects like this all over the state. We are definitely not able to fund any of these projects at 100%. We fund them maybe at 5% of the total costs. We take our money, our state money, and match that for federal grants that are specifically designed for or allocated for restoration projects like these. Fisheries restoration projects, ecological restoration projects, river wetland type projects. So it's public funds that are have a designated purpose and fund and a designated purpose. And we unfortunately we'd love to have enough to do build. There was a comment about building a museum, and that I love the idea, but realistically that's something that's not in the cards. And yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I think that with when it comes to signage or anything, I think when we were talking about how the Community Preservation Committee can be involved, that's something where funds can be allocated. If there needs to be extra funds, that's something that falls under what can be used. The signage for historical sites is something that can be where CPC funds can be used. So I think that would be good to get the CPC involved.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm happy to entertain that idea.
Excellent.
Sorry, my battery died. Sorry I missed that.
No, we're just talking about the funding and potential signage. So I can I'll be able to catch you up on it after.
Yeah, we have a meeting on the 9th of December, so happy to
Yes.
hear it.
Is there any more discussion on High Street Dam for right now? All right. Chris, thank you for your input.
Yes, thank you for hearing me out tonight. And any questions that you all have that come up afterward, don't hesitate to reach out over email. I think some of you have my email address. If not, I don't know. I'll put it in the chat before I sign off here. So yeah, feel free to reach out with any questions. We do ask that you try to reply promptly to the letter from Jim Turek from the Restoration Center, just so we have that, sort of formal documentation of the process.
We'll get that to you ASAP. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Have a great night and appreciate the time.
Take care.
Bye now. Bye.
All right. Moving on. Town hall study. This has been it's kind of been very quiet. I need to get in touch with the town manager, just see where this is. Talking to the consultant. I know that there's been a draft study of converting the town hall into a cultural center, but really in the last few months, there really hasn't been any progress. I think that I look like I'm going to push so that at our next meeting I'll have an update with that. Next item on the agenda is the Titicate site and the history and ceremony that was held in the center of town on July 25th. This item right here, I've kind of had a slight hesitation to I was going to be recording the the event and documenting it in the so that would be in our Bridgewater records. On July 25th, there was the Matakeesit tribe of the Massachusetts Nation had a ceremony in the center of town, but then also had a water and land ceremony down in at Titicut, discussing the history of the land. I witnessed it. I was there. I just wanted to. Since then, I need to before I document and clarify anything. I need to. I want to make sure that the information that I received is accurate from the participants. So I think it was a very important and very it was a very important event. I think that it's what it was a in a way a coming home ceremony for there was representatives from the Matakeesit tribe, from the Wampanoag tribe, Shinnecook, Aquina tribe. But before I officially document anything, I want to make I just want to validate who's who, what who were the participants in it, and so I'm going to push that until next meeting.
Steve,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interject here. That tribe should be part of the consultation, because if that tribe claims the land down to Titicut northward, the Massachusetts tribe needs to be part of this. The Wampanoags out on the Cape are the Wampanoags, but they're not that local band tribe.
Exactly.
And I'm just going to ask you guys to take care of that.
Okay. Yes, because there is documentation of Titicut being of the Massachusetts tribe. I think the part that comes into question is during one of our last historical commission meetings where we had a representative speak, was the ownership of like Titicut in the land, whereas I think what was requested was that it was illegally deeded to the town, which was, if I look at my reviews, it was not the case. It was deeded twice to the town. So it's just a matter of I don't want to record anything that's not correct.
I know, I hear you there. I'm just saying that tribe should be part of the bridge and dam removal consultation.
Absolutely. Now I will reach out to the representatives of that tribe. I have their contact information.
Thank you.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the Bridgewater UK History Day presentation. I don't know if everyone remembers in the past with the connection that we made with the town of Bridgewater, England, where we had a just a recap for everyone. Back in the 1846, there was a letter from Bridgewater, England to Bridgewater, Massachusetts. After the residents of Bridgewater, England heard Frederick Douglass speak, they sent a letter to Bridgewater, Massachusetts to ensure that the town's namesake was also anti-slavery, and the town of England sent a letter and all residents signed it. Town of Bridgewater, Massachusetts, responded where every resident signed the response. It was a 32-foot long scroll, which is actually in the museum in Bridgewater, England. They still have it displayed. And from that, I had discussions with the historic town historian in England, and we met on. We were shown on BBC World Services. and it gained a lot of traction, a lot of notoriety. And on this month, on the 28th, Bridgewater, England is having a Bridgewater History Day, and I was asked to present once again the story and the connection between our towns. So that's going to be happening on the 28th of November. It'll be a Zoom call. I'm going to post the address on the Bridgewater Historical Commission page, also on Facebook. And if anyone's not on Facebook, they can reach out to me. I can send them the information. But it should be another good event. And I look forward to that, and look forward to continuing the connection between our towns.
Steve, is that going to be at 2 o'clock in the morning again?
It's going to be let's see, it starts at 10, so it's going to be at like around 6 or so.
Yeah, okay.
Like by the time that I ended up getting on, they gave me the option to pre-record something, but I may get up. I may get up in time.
Yeah, we can handle 6 o'clock. That's all right.
Exactly. The 2 o'clock calls on the BBC were a little rough. But no, it really is. It's I think from the discussions I've had with the town of Bridgewater, England, it's been like just like sharing the history and how much they know of us and how many connections we have. It's really, I think it's an area where we can like really like share history, share stories between the towns. I think I look forward to adding to it. So I'll send that if you're not able to get on at 10 in the morning, I'll have a link to the recording of it. And one other thing that I did not have on the agenda was, and I know James is on the call. It's the Barstow House. They were looking at the potential uses of the Barstow House, and like I do have to apologize to James. I really have been tight for time and have not been able to really put in the effort that I wish I could have for that to get. But I know that I reached out to the town or to Bridgewater State to see if they wanted to be part of the had a use for the Barstow House on Pleasant Street, and they did not. I need to reach out to the broker for the house and just see if they have, as a representative of the Historical Commission, and see if they have any interest in potential uses, or if they would entertain using the property as a maybe as a historical site. Janet, it's on Pleasant Street, right at the end of Union Street. It's across the street from Union. It's a gray building. I think it's 118 Pleasant Street. If I remember correctly, I might be wrong on that.
No, Steve, I think you're right. And no need for an apology. I know there's like only 1,000,001 things going on. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. But we'll hopefully kind of bring that to closure by next meeting. All right. Does anyone in the committee have comments?
I'll just throw this out only because the Historical Commission did put their stamp of approval on it when I first got started. The banner project, we completed the year with 148 banners, veterans banners displayed around town. They've all survived, and the orders continue to trickle in. And we probably have between 160 to 170 that will go up next year in the beginning of May. So it's been a great program. Had a lot of fun, met a lot of great people, heard a lot of great stories, and it's just been a great project. had a lot of fun with it.
No, excellent. Thanks for your work on that, because it really does add to the downtown. It adds to the town, showing the history.
I got a great bunch of people working with me on it too. So
And I think one thing that we discussed in the past that I would like to see is that potentially if we can come up with funds or something to have a sign for like the Louis Laguerre Simpson, who was in the 54th Regiment. I think it would be a very tying into the history of our town, and I think that would be a great banner to see somewhere.
Steve, you're aware that the university, there's some people doing a very in-depth dive on African Americans in Bridgewater. Were you guys aware of that?
I wasn't.
I would suggest, I'm not sure who to reach out to, but I think Sue McComb could be someone that could put this historic commission in touch with that. I think there's a major effort going on, and I found out a bunch of information just recently about African-American landholders in Bridgewater. It involves the railroad, and they were porters on the railroad, and when they came out of Boston to wherever they were going, they found this very iconic town that was here on the railroad, and as porters, they figured, well, we can live here, and they started buying land, especially down Bedford Street and some other areas in town. So there's a very interesting history there.
Absolutely. I definitely want to reach out to her, find out more about that. Thank you.
You bet. I think there was a question from Janet Hansen.
Let's see.
You might just ask her to.
I think initially it was where is the house? I think I did answer that, and then she has she had a comment
Banners
about she likes the banners, but if you could put the names on the bottom and service on top rather than the way that they're placed now. I'll direct that, and it says I try my best to look at them safely when driving, and I can never see the names but love the banners. I'll just she can say, I think Janet, you can definitely be in contact with David and his committee for any input.
Yeah, just a quick comment on that. Starting in the very beginning, we had the banners up quite high, and we got a lot of comments that they were very difficult to read up that high. We were concerned with vandalism, and we were concerned with if they were down too low and they were close to the road, them getting hit by trucks and so forth. We've had none of those problems. We've consider ourselves extremely lucky. Vandalism has not been an issue. We haven't had one recorded case yet, or even suspected case of vandalism, and some of them we've brought down quite low. And I take, for example, the one in front of the Congregational Church. I think the top of that banner was only about 7 feet off the ground. Because he was a member of the AA group, he was a veteran, a well-known Bridgewater person, Dick Sproles. And so as time goes, you may see him coming down lower. I don't know if we could reverse the names. I know that would bring the name down lower, but because we want to keep them uniform. But we'll try to keep them as readable as possible. And thank you for your comments, Jim. Call us anytime.
Bob, do you have any comments you want to share?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
All right. Well, I think with that, our next meeting will be, I think we usually do, was it the third Tuesday of each month? So the next meeting will be on the 15th of December.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, if there's nothing else, I think we can adjourn the meeting. So thank you, everyone. I think that was a great meeting. And I look forward to talking to you next time.
See you later. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Steve.